good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody who's watching this. I know for myself that I'm very interested into serial killer documentaries, so I said, why not do this and form a speech about one? So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Now, have you ever been suspicious of your significant other? Has your significant other picking up activities and hobbies that you don't really quite understand? Have these activities and hobbies that your significant other been picking up correlated to the fact that he may be a suspect of some killings in your area? These were the thoughts of Elizabeth Clever about her then boyfriend Ted Bundy, who in the 1970s was a serial killer and serial rapist. Now today we're going to go through Ted Bundy's life from childhood to his college killings and to his last and final case that led him to the electric chair. The Brooks College of Health, in an article that they published in 2020, states that most serial killers have an adverse childhood experience that correlates with the crimes. Ted Bundy, raised by his grandfather, experienced sexual and emotional abuse from his grandfather, who had a raging temper that would lash out on his family members, on animals, and employees. In an article written by Sarah Kettler, named Inside Ted Bundy's Disturbing and Troubling Childhood, quotes that Ted Bundy, as a toddler, would place a knife by her head and that he used to play with knives all the time. A childhood friend in a documentary called Conversations with the Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, the childhood friend says that Ted Bundy was even teased for his speech impediment, and the word around town that he was a peeping Tom and that some of his killings may have not started in his college years, but at the age of 14. Now, going on to his college years, according to the biography of Ted Bundy attended the University of Puget Sound, Temple University, and University of Washington, where most of his victims resided. He used to take night classes that led to his night killings starting in September 1973. His first known victim was at University of Washington in 1974, where he raped, strangled, beat, and decapitated at least 12 of his victims. Through the summer of 1974, Ted Bundy did more killings, but he never really got caught because he was so charming and that he was a law student, so why would a law student do this? Even though that every description that the serial killer had matched Ted Bundy's. But they let him go for the fact that he was a law student and that he had a clean criminal record. Ted Bundy then transferred to the University of Utah Law School as the University of Washington investigations picked up, so he escaped just in time. In August 1975, a police officer pulled over Ted Bundy where he discovered a ski mask, an ice pick, and many other items in the car that later convicted Ted Bundy of a Colorado murder of a 23-year-old nurse. Ted Bundy, during that trial, acted as his own lawyer. While acting as his own lawyer, Ted Bundy was given access to the courthouse library. Ted Bundy then escaped through the courthouse library window and was in captivity until 8 days after, in June 1977. On December 30, 1977, Ted Bundy then escaping all the way to Florida. In January 1978, Ted Bundy attacked 4 Florida University students and killing 2 of them and also killing and raping a 12-year-old child. Ted Bundy was then put on trial for his cases. And Ted Bundy then again tried to act as his own lawyer, but failed miserably for the fact that Ted Bundy had one piece of condemning evidence that went against him. He left a bite mark on one of the university students' bodies that matched his teeth ever so perfectly. In July 1979, Ted Bundy received 3 death penalties. 2 of them because he tried to reveal the first one, then receiving the second one, and the third one for the trial of the 12-year-old girl that he killed. Ted Bundy tried his hardest to prove his innocence with the fact that he tried to go all the way to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court was like, nah, you guilty. In 1989, the day before Ted Bundy's execution, he made it to 36 killings, but officers and lawyers don't really believe that. They believe it to be 100 and more killings that Bundy committed. 1989, Ted Bundy was then executed for all of his killings. Well, really for his 40 killings. So now we have experienced and went through the crimes of Ted Bundy. And I only described a few because there are, like officers and authorities said, there are many more. We have learned that maybe these crimes correlate with the fact of his abuse as a child and being teased. But I will say, if you ever want to try to get away with a crime, don't ask Ted Bundy. Thank you for listening.